Moves. Primordial despair suddenly opened its mouth and roared as it spat out a terrifying black wind. It swept through the dilapidated void and mixed with spatial fragments, drowning the 9 great chaos. Zhao Shuangquan was at the front. He quickly waved his divine spear. He used the great Tao Providence divine authority to resist primordial despair's ferocious power. Zhou Song's great Tao heaven watched this scene with hopeful eyes. Could the 9 great chaos that had recently shocked everyone suppress the dark forbidden lord? The other 8 chaos appeared around Hangzhou. The 9 great chaos surrounded him and raised their palms together. In an instant, the space around Hangzhou was sealed. No one below the Tao Creator realm could shake this imprisonment power. He went all out the moment he attacked. It seemed that the 9 great chaos were not reckless. Zhou Song's great Tao heaven was pleasantly surprised to see their speed and aura. There was a chance. Boom! A strong light burst out. The violent dermic powers pressed down on primordial despair, causing it to howl in pain. Zhou Song's great Tao heaven could not move and had no choice but to forcefully withstand the aftermath. His flesh and blood were torn apart, leaving only a golden skeleton. After the strong light dissipated, Zhao Shuangquan was moved. The other chaos were also shocked. Their dermic powers didn't touch Hangzhou at all. An unknown force appeared around him and easily negated their power. How can this be? Zhao Shuangquan exclaimed in his heart. The 9 great chaos had a tacit understanding. They teleported out and pulled away, not daring to approach Hangzhou anymore. With this exchange, they knew that they were not the Dark Forbidden Lord's match. They had used their full strength just now. Zhao Shuangquan's expression darkened. He gritted his teeth and asked, Dark Forbidden Lord, what do you want? After all, we've sacrificed so much. Even if you're unwilling to join us, you shouldn't be our enemy. Everyone would have wishful thinking, especially when they had given something. Hangzhou smiled. I'll tell you since you're so persistent. I'll open the Endless Era. To be precise, it's the Dark Era. Stop fighting. He stood up and slowly raised his right hand. He clenched his fist gently. In an instant, with him as the center, darkness swept in all directions. Before the 9 great chaos could react, the dilapidated void in front of them turned into a black space. They became the only light left in this void. Soon, the entire chaos fell into darkness. The sky of all the Kiliocosm worlds turned dark and all the suns lost their light. Darkness descended. This was only Hangzhou's method. It changed the vision of all living beings and didn't make all those who shone disappear. In that case, the rules of the chaos would be chaotic and involve too many aspects. Go back. Let the chaos and primordial chaos join forces to challenge me. Hangzhou smiled disdainfully. An invisible impact erupted and sent the 9 great chaos flying. This was not Hangzhou's last-minute action. It was a change he made to his plans after traveling the chaos. If the great Tao immeasurable calamity developed as he knew, it would be less interesting and unnecessary. Han Huang would still bear the infamy of the old era even if he shattered the chaos and established the endless era. In that case, I, his father, will help him. The primordial fiend celestial stirred up the great Tao immeasurable calamity. Another ancient and unknown primordial fiend celestial, the Dark Forbidden Lord, came to destroy everything and finally place the honor on Han Huang. During this process, Hangzhou could still fight a final battle with the 9th chaos. The script had already been drawn. All the living beings in the primordial chaos were not the Dark Forbidden Lord's match. The 9th chaos personally arrived and died. Han Huang fought with his life on the line. In his despair, the divine might heavenly sage descended. The father and son joined forces. Be it the dark forbidden lord or the divine might heavenly sage, he was the one posturing. Zhou Song looked at Hanju's back in shock. We're so weak? Impossible. What realm was he at? Could it be there really existed another profound realm above the great Tao Supreme realm? Hanju sat down and stretched slowly. Are you serious? A cold voice sounded. Han Huang walked out of the darkness and transformed into the primordial Fian Celestial's main body. Purple. Han Huang ignored it and stared at Hanju. Hanju, who was like a black shadow, looked so evil. He was almost one with the dark void, but his scarlet eyes were extremely eye-catching. Hanju smiled and asked, "You want to fight? Me alone?" Han Huang suddenly waved his palm. The divine might great heaven palm rumbled. It was negated by an invisible force. He frowned. But Hanju also frowned under the black flames. Brat, aren't you afraid of hurting your son? Hanju felt a hint of dissatisfaction and snorted. You dare to call yourself the strongest with the power of trash? Han Huang, you're not worthy of the primordial fiend celestial name at all. Scram! Boom! Han Huang felt an indescribable force collide with him, causing his consciousness to dissipate. His body was destroyed and his soul flew back, unable to stop. The primordial fiend celestial should not only be violent destruction. You are not the only primordial fiend celestial. When the primordial chaos and chaos join forces, I will take your life and kill all your relatives and all the living beings related to you. The dark forbidden lord's cold voice echoed in Han Huang's ears. He didn't have time to felt a hand pressing down on his back. He finally stopped. He opened his eyes with difficulty. The dermic powers in his body were gone and were condensing again. He turned around and saw that the person helping him was the evil heavenly emperor. Your Majesty, you, Han Huang looked surprised. In the past, he had guessed that the dark forbidden lord was Hanju. Later, it was said that Hanju was a chaotic fiend celestial and that the dark forbidden lord was someone else. Although that was the truth, he always had a trace of fantasy. Now that he saw Han Huang being beaten up. Children. Damn it, that fellow is too arrogant. Recalling the dark forbidden lord's words, Han Huang fell into a rage and could not restrain himself. He was shocked. How could there be such a powerful existence? He was stronger than his father. Lord just now. The dark forbidden lord was the same as his father. He belonged to another realm and was even stronger. Darkness descended. The forbidden lord had appeared. The entire chaos fell into an unprecedented panic. Although the primordial chaos and the chaos had fought for a long time, there were always places that were not affected. However, this time, the entire chaos was covered in darkness. From the overlord forces to the countless mortal worlds, they were all uneasy. The news quickly spread. The chaos was about to change. In the void, the Calamity Life controllers gathered on a meteor. Ha ha ha, it's here! The era that belongs to the Dark Forbidden Lord has arrived. Jing Tiangong, gather the Darkness sect immediately and gather the believers of the Dark Forbidden Lord to serve him. Shi Dudao ordered excitedly. Jing Tiangong immediately accepted the order and left with his subordinates. Shi Dudao looked in the Dark Forbidden Lord's direction, his eyes filled with fanaticism. He had always believed in the Dark Forbidden Lord and focused on him. Although Hanju used the mystical destiny book to change the understanding of all living beings, he only drew a clear line between him and the Dark Forbidden Lord. Dao only thought that the Dark Forbidden Lord was another layer of identity of the Divine Might Heavenly Sage. Even if it was later said that the two of them were not the same person, he still guessed that the two of them were related. It was even possible that the Divine Might Heavenly Sage was only the reincarnation of a wisp of the Dark Forbidden Lord's soul. There were too many such methods. How many mighty figures had split into countless souls and reincarnated? This also explained why the Divine Might Heavenly Sage rose so quickly. Even if the Divine Might Heavenly Sage was not the true Dark Forbidden Lord, the two sides were definitely related. Now, these guesses were meaningless. No matter what relationship the Divine Might Heavenly Sage had with the Dark Forbidden Lord, what he needed to do was serve him. He would do whatever the Dark Forbidden Lord asked him to do. From now on, all Calamity Life controllers will respect the Dark Forbidden Lord, understand? Dao looked down at all his subordinates and said in a low voice. Ancestor Shitian sighed and did not stop him. He had already lost his ambitions and only wanted to follow the crowd. Reality proved that these juniors were more motivated. Entering the darkness might not be a path of no return. Ancestor Shitian also wanted to constantly important. In the following years, the primordial chaos and the chaos had yet to unite. However, the darkness sects quickly gathered, and their momentum continued to increase. The 9 great chaos and Han Huang returned to their respective nests and began to recuperate. The 9 great chaos had their own backing, so they did not want to find Han Huang for the time being. As for Han Huang, his pride did not allow him to take the initiative to ask the enemy for help. In the third Dao field, Xing Hongxian had just returned and was talking to the other women. That Dark Forbidden Lord is too strong. Huang almost died. I have to tell you about this, Qing Waner said worriedly. Xing Hongxian believed that Hanju was not lying to her. If he said that he was invincible, he was invincible. As for the Dark Forbidden Lord, he was just a clown. It's fine. Let that brat suffer a little. He didn't even tell me about the wedding. Since he doesn't care about his parents, why would he need their help? Xing Hongxian snorted. She wanted to kill Goddess Mingji, but her heart softened when she thought of Han Huang. As for her curse, it was nothing. Han Huang. When Goddess Mingji recovered her appearance, Han Huang would not have the time to see her. Dao Comprehension Sword said nervously, it's better not to cause trouble. Tell all the disciples to return. It's safer to hide in the Dao field. They had spied on the power of Han Huang and the 9 great chaos before, making them sigh. However, such an expert was like an ant when facing the Dark Forbidden Lord. Only those who saw it with their own eyes knew the difference. Just thinking about it shocked them. That was an invincible figure. The previous Han Huang was too far apart. Even Hanju was different from him. Although he could kill the enemy forcefully every time, he couldn't be as terrifying and relaxed as the Dark Forbidden Lord. The Dark Forbidden Lord didn't even attack. And Han Huang and the 9th Chaos almost died. Fairy Xixian said, indeed, I can't tell Han Zhu. The Dark Forbidden Lord is not a rising star. We heard of him back in the Heavenly Tao. The immeasurable calamity seemed to have ended because of Su Qi, but it was actually the Dark Forbidden Lord's curse that pushed everything. Qing Waner felt that it made sense. Xian Qingjun smiled. Don't worry. He must have sensed his cultivation level. Even if he's in seclusion, he can't ignore the outside world. If he can attack, he will. They nodded upon recalling Hanju's experiences. At the same time, they thought of another possibility. Hanju didn't appear. Could it be because he was not the Dark Forbidden Lord's match? Apart from Xing Hongxian, they all thought of this, but they did not point it out to avoid unnecessary trouble. In the blank domain, under the majestic divine tree, the shadows of the ninth chaos and the first chaos sat opposite each other. The first chaos said, "Our clones are not the Dark Forbidden Lord's match. He's so arrogant. He must be confident. You have to." The ninth chaos snorted. "He's just a dark worm. He might think that I'm severely injured and in seclusion. Little does he know that I'm waiting for him to appear. Are you going to attack?" "There's no hurry. Since he wants the primordial chaos and chaos to join forces, it's just nice. If we succeed, my relationship with the divine might heavenly sage will also ease. Perhaps we can still join forces to deal with him. From his attack on Han Huang, I know that he doesn't have a good relationship with the divine might heavenly sage, but he's afraid of making too many enemies, so he's only severely injured and not killed," the ninth chaos said slowly. A breeze suddenly blew over. The divine tree trembled and dozens of leaves fell. The billions of stars on the leaves shrank and condensed into figures that floated behind the ninth chaos like petals. The first chaos asked, "What do you want to do?" The ninth chaos replied, "Let's test the Dark Forbidden Lord's strength first. His current cultivation level is immeasurable, but with such confidence, he's at least not an early-stage Tao creator. He's very likely reached the mid-stage or even the late stage, but the possibility of the latter is very small. Although I often enter seclusion, it's impossible for me to ignore the possibility of letting the juniors reach the late stage." From the beginning to the end, he believed that the Dark Forbidden Lord was not his match. He had only used some supreme treasure to hide karma. The ninth chaos waved his right hand gently. The dozens of figures behind him shot into the depths of the blank domain like arrows and vanished without a trace. "Dark Forbidden Lord, since you want to use the Great Tao Immeasurable Calamity as a chessboard to fight me, then give it a try. It just so happens that I also have a method to kill creation," the ninth chaos muttered to himself with an extremely indifferent tone. The first chaos was silent, but he was not confident. Was the Dark Forbidden Lord really only at the mid-stage Tao creator realm? At the same time, the formless transcendent deity sent you a dream. Do you accept? Hanju, who was above primordial despair's head, accepted the dream. The formless transcendent deity was naturally here for the Dark Forbidden Lord. Hanju asked him to calm down and continue watching. The formless transcendent deity was a little worried after the dream ended. Could it be that the divine might heavenly sage was not as strong as the Dark Forbidden Lord? Otherwise, why would he wait and see? Since I've chosen this path, I can only walk it to the end. The formless transcendent deity thought silently. He had no choice now. The risk of joining the Dark Forbidden Lord was too great. Even if the Dark Forbidden Lord accepted him, he would not be able to obtain much in the future. It was too late to take sides now. Furthermore, the Dark Forbidden Lord might not have a chance of winning. After thinking, the formless transcendent deity fell into a deep sleep again. Just as Hanju said, he waited for the calamity to change. Hanju didn't encounter any more trouble after darkness descended. Primordial despair also didn't encounter any more prey. It became anxious and uneasy. It often roared, adding to the darkness. Hanju sat on his grandson's head and read the emails. It still required time for the primordial chaos and chaos to join forces. Hanju could wait. The news of the Dark Forbidden Lord defeating Han Huang and the 9 Great Chaos quickly spread in the chaos. This matter could not be hidden. Only by being honest could the two sides let go of their hatred. The stronger the Dark Forbidden Lord was, the greater the hope of the primordial chaos and the chaos working together. In the primordial hall, Han Huang flew into a rage out of humiliation and cursed everyone. However, no one was angry. They continued to persuade him patiently. Han Huang actually wanted to challenge the Dark Forbidden Lord alone. Under Li Daogong's instructions, Dao Sovereign had already gone to find the 9 Extremes orthodoxy. Han Huang was very angry about this, but he only flew into a rage and did not stop him. His fellow disciples understood that he was not angry, he just needed to vent. Han Huang indeed needed to vent. Anyone would collapse when facing the Dark Forbidden Lord. After venting for a while, Han Huang sat down and said dispiritedly, "In that case, let's join forces. I'm prepared to enter seclusion. I'll leave the matter of the primordial chaos to you. As for primordial despair, ignore it for now to prevent more casualties." That's right, panic. This was the first time Han Huang had such an emotion. Only he knew that primordial despair was not a slaughtering ferocious beast at all. He was the sun he had created. However, he had sealed primordial despair's intelligence so that it could fully perform its duty. How many mighty figures' main bodies also looked like ferocious beasts? They were terrifying. It was just that they had transformed and looked sage-like. Han Huang was frustrated and immediately disappeared from the hall. The personal disciples of the hidden sect began to do their own things. Thousands of years later, the primordial chaos and chaos started working together, and all Dark Forbidden Lord believers gathered and formed a darkness sect that was not inferior to the 9 Extremes orthodoxy. At this moment, the various factions realized that the Dark Forbidden Lord had not appeared out of nowhere, but had long been plotting. Under their noses, the Dark Forbidden Lord's influence was actually so great. The mighty darkness sect began to search for the Dark Forbidden Lord. No matter which faction dared to stop him, they would be attacked by them. They actually had several Great Tao Supremes but few Great Tao Sages. The disciples were mostly in the freedom and primordial chaos realms. Primordial despair's ferocious aura was extremely powerful, so it was not troublesome for the darkness sect to find the Dark Forbidden Lord. Shi Dudao and Jing Tiangong became the darkness sect's leaders. With life as the pillar, the internal rules of the darkness sect quickly formed. Shi Dudao didn't dare to rashly disturb Hanju, so he gathered first. When they were close to primordial despair, Shi Dudao and Jing Tiangong rushed over alone, looking at the terrifying primordial despair. They were very nervous, afraid that without the Dark Forbidden Lord, they would be swallowed by the monster. Probably not. The Dark Forbidden Lord would definitely not abandon them. The two of them mustered their courage and flew over. Primordial Despair immediately became excited when he saw them. Just as Primordial Despair was about to eat the two of them, Hanju pulled them in front of him, causing them to disappear from Primordial Despair's eyes. From the beginning to the end, Primordial Despair didn't sense Hanju at all. He set up a barrier above its head, preventing it from seeing them. "Greetings, Forbidden Lord." The two of them knelt in front of Hanju and bowed respectfully. They were extremely excited. After hundreds of millions of years, they could finally talk to the Dark Forbidden Lord. Face to face. It was not a dream or a fantasy. Hanju was also very glad to see them. Their loyalty made him feel incredulous. Hanju said, "I've always seen your efforts. Today, I'll preach the Tao to you first. I hope that you can satisfy me in this great Tao immeasurable calamity." Forbidden Lord preached the Tao to them alone. Hanju looked at the darkness sect in the distance. It was mighty. Although it was a mob in his eyes, Such a force could indeed stir up trouble in the chaos. Darkness had descended for so long, but the chaos and primordial chaos still didn't do anything. Hanju was a little impatient. In that case, the darkness sect would push it. Hanju sent a dream to all the members of the darkness sect and taught them the mystical power to kill enemies in there. Dreams, including Sherdudao and Jing Tiangong. He wanted to bring true despair to the chaos and make all living beings lose the last pure land of dreams. 5,000 years later, Sherdudao and Jing Tiangong left with the darkness sect. They were not suitable to stay beside primordial despair. Soon, the darkness sect began to appear in every corner of the chaos. They frantically visited the enemy in their dreams. Every time they did so, they would be teleported in front of them, causing the darkness sect to be scattered everywhere. When someone wanted to kill them, they could also use this mystical. The chaos fell into panic again. Zhao Shuangchuan realized that he couldn't wait any longer. He brought the 8 chaos to visit Han Huang. At this moment, Han Huang was meeting 2 people who called themselves the Primordial Fiend Celestial. They were Primordial Origin and Huang Zuantian. The 2 of them wanted to continue waiting. But when they saw the Dark Forbidden Lord appear, they had no choice but to enter the calamity early. The Dark Forbidden Lord was too strong. Han Huang was not his match at all. Huang Zuantian and Primordial Origin naturally had to appear. Han Huang frowned. After hearing Primordial Origin introduce his background, killing intent flashed across his eyes. Previously, Primordial Origin had sent him a dream and said that he wanted to fight a final battle. He did not expect creation to make a fool of him. The 2 of them actually wanted to join forces. Han Huang's sharp gaze landed on Huang Zuantian. He could sense the aura of his own kind. This was an unprecedented feeling. He was both excited and conflicted. Huang Zuantian said, "Of course, it's thanks to Primordial Origin. He used my body to survive previously. Now, he naturally has to repay me." Han Huang looked at Primordial Origin again and asked, "You can create another Primordial Fiend Celestial?" Primordial Origin saw through his thoughts. No, Huang Zuantian was only lucky. The chaos can't withstand so many Primordial Fiend Celestials. We can exist because of the great Tao immeasurable calamity. Let's join forces and destroy the Dark Forbidden Lord together to create an endless era. At that time, there will be more than one Primordial Fiend Celestial. We won't be the only Primordial Fiend Celestials. Perhaps the Primordial Fiend Celestial race will be born. Because of this, the Dark Forbidden Lord is very strong. Even I can't say clearly how strong he is. Even if the 3 Primordial Fiend Celestials join forces, I'm afraid." Han Huang frowned. He did not refuse. In fact, he had been worried about this recently. If he could obtain the support of Primordial Origin and Huang Zuantian, it would naturally be a good thing. He said that because he was afraid that Primordial Origin would die. When this fellow visited him in his dreams, he was extremely arrogant and confident. Primordial Origin smiled. "I naturally know that the Dark Forbidden Lord is definitely an existence that surpasses the Great Tao. Supreme Realm. Above should be the Tao. Create a realm. This is a realm that surpasses the chaos." Tao Creator, Han Huang frowned even more and muttered to himself. Huang Zuantian said, "Sherdudao is a loyal believer of the Dark Forbidden Lord. Now, I can't control the Life faction anymore. I can only remind you to be careful. There's a very strong force hidden in the Life faction." Han Huang said, "The most troublesome is still the Dark Forbidden Lord. As for the Darkness sect, they'll disband after we kill him. Huang Zuntian felt that it made sense and did not refute. The true trouble was still the Dark Forbidden Lord. As long as he destroyed the Dark Forbidden Lord, everything would be fine. Huang Zuntian thought of Hanju. If Han Huang asked Master for help. No! Master did not make a move. Perhaps this was a test for them. The three of them continued to talk. After a while, Jiang Yi sent a voice transmission to Han Huang, saying that the 9 Chaos had arrived. Han Huang immediately sent a voice transmission and let them in. The 9 Great Chaos have arrived. It's a good opportunity for you to get to know each other. We can only rely on ourselves to deal with the Dark Forbidden Lord. The other Great Tao Supremes are all cannon fodder, Han Huang said. Primordial Origin and Huang Zuntian had no objections. Soon, the 9 Great Chaos arrived. Their gazes landed on Primordial Origin and Huang Zuntian. The 9th Chaos clone narrowed his eyes and said, Primordial Origin, long time no see. I didn't expect you to still be alive. Primordial Origin was a chaotic fiend celestial and was once Panga's last opponent. It was enough to show his qualifications and status among the chaotic fiend celestials. He was the oldest existence in the chaos and had naturally seen the 9th chaos. Primordial Origin frowned. It's you. Who are you? Back in the Battle of the 3000 chaotic fiend celestials, it was the 9th chaos who instigated him to fight Pango, but he also said the pros and cons. Therefore, even if he was defeated, he could not blame him. However, after so long, the 9th chaos was still alive. This made Primordial Origin think of many things. The 9th chaos chuckled. There's no need to ask about the past. Now, I'm one of the 9 Great Chaos and fighting to protect the world. Primordial Origin frowned. He suddenly thought of something. He had already changed his appearance. His body had changed and his soul had transformed into a primordial fiend celestial. Why could the other party still recognize him? At a glance? Could it be? Primordial Origin thought of something and was afraid of the 9th chaos. Han Huang gave them a seat and everyone sat down to chat. In the dark void, Su Qi slowly walked forward. Behind him was a vast and boundless rolling mist of misfortune. After so many years, his bad luck had already accumulated to an extremely strong level. Ordinary Great Tao Supremes did not dare to approach him. Normal cultivation and there would be no realm barrier. This time, Su Qi prepared to deal with the Dark Forbidden Lord who terrified the chaos and primordial chaos. He originally wanted to support the primordial chaos. Now that the Dark Forbidden Lord had severely injured Han Huang, he naturally had to make a move. Dark Forbidden Lord, I want to see if your darkness can block my monstrous misfortune. Su Qi smiled confidently. His confidence was accumulated through battle achievements. His bad luck could only be expelled by the rules of the chaos itself. Of course, it was only expelling. He could already sense primordial despair. He was shocked. As expected of something created by Han Huang. No wonder he was chosen by the Dark Forbidden Lord. Su Qi accelerated and quickly arrived in front of primordial despair. Terrifying bad luck drowned him. At this moment, primordial despair was still napping. Sensing bad luck, it suddenly opened its 18 eyes. Misfortune made it uneasy. It let out a deafening roar and attacked Su Qi. Han Ju, who was taking a nap, was also woken up. With his cultivation, He didn't need to sleep. He just wanted to. He had long sensed Su Chi's arrival. He did not stop him. He also wanted to test his current strength. Bad luck is so powerful. It can actually injure the primordial fiend celestial's body. Hanju was a little surprised. Although primordial despair was not a true primordial fiend celestial, his body was definitely considered one. This was also the reason why he was so invincible. Su Chi's cultivation was not very strong, but the strength of the bad luck far exceeded his strength. If he continued to let it be, Su Chi's bad luck could destroy the chaos. He wondered if bad luck could hurt the blank domain. Hanju suddenly felt that Su Chi had unlimited potential. He could nurture him well in the future. Behind Hanju, Zhou Song's Great Dao Heaven was also watching the battle. Zhou Song's Great Dao Heaven was sealed here and couldn't move. Hanju didn't especially deal with him. Just like that, he suffered. Su Chi? He can actually injure primordial despair. He was not so strong back then. Zhou Song's Great Dao Heaven was both someone who was originally inferior to him. Zhou Song's heart sank again after watching. For a while. Although Su Chi could injure primordial despair, it was only an injury. It was. The Dark Forbidden Lord was much stronger than primordial despair. Su Chi did not seem to sense his existence. The Dark Forbidden Lord was sitting in front of him, but he knew that if not for the Dark Forbidden Lord's willingness, no one would be able to see him. This method was extremely strange, but also very brilliant. Primordial despair suddenly opened its mouth. A terrifying suction force finally locked onto Su Chi and pulled him into its abyssal mouth. Su Chi was shocked and wanted to cast a spell to escape. However, this suction force actually contained the rules of space and sealed the space around him, preventing him from jumping out. Oh no! Su Chi knew that something was wrong. Just as he was panicking, his vision blurred and he appeared beside Zhou Song's Great Dao Heaven. He was also kneeling and could not move. Su Chi widened his eyes and noticed Zhou Song's Great Dao Heaven beside him. It's you? What's happening? Su Chi struggled with all his might but could not stand up. He couldn't even move his hands and could only open his mouth to speak. Zhou Song's Great Dao Heaven sighed. Stop struggling. Look ahead. Su Chi looked forward. It was dark ahead, and he could not see anything. At this moment, a figure appeared. It was Hanju. He deliberately let Su Chi see him. Your bad luck is not bad, but it's only not bad. Kneel here and watch me destroy the chaos, Hanju said casually. His voice was cold. That killing intent locked onto Su Chi, causing him to fall into endless fear. This was an uncontrollable emotion. Dark Forbidden Lord. Su Chi gritted his teeth. No wonder he did not see the Dark Forbidden Lord earlier. It was hidden above Primordial Chaos Head. Hanju ignored him. Zhou Song sighed. Bear with it. You can't escape. Su Chi did not question his words. Zhou Song's name was famous in the chaos, but he actually ended up in such a sorry state. It was obvious how strong the Dark Forbidden Lord was. Primordial despair immediately roared unhappily after it discovered that Su Chi had disappeared. The prey it had finally encountered had disappeared. Anyone would be anxious. Hanju looked into the distance. He could see Han Huang, primordial origin, Huang Zuantian, and the 9 great chaos discussing how to deal with him. He would push for the great Tao immeasurable calamity when they came to deal with him. This great Tao immeasurable calamity did not need to last for hundreds of millions of years or even longer. Soon, the primordial chaos and the chaos announced their cooperation. At the same time, they publicized how terrifying the Dark Forbidden Lord was and how harmful he was to the chaos. The members of the Darkness sect were still slaughtering living beings everywhere. It also increased the determination of all living beings to deal with the Dark Forbidden Lord. 5,000 years later, the primordial chaos and chaos gathered all the great Tao sages in a void. This was the path to stop primordial despair. Han Huang, primordial origin, Huang Zuantian, and the 9 great chaos. A total of 12 transcendent experts stood side by side. All of them had powerful auras and could not suppress each other, shaking the dark void. Zhao Shuangquan said, the great Tao immeasurable calamity was originally a battle between the chaos and the primordial chaos. That dark forbidden lord challenged the chaos and the primordial chaos and wanted to destroy the great Tao immeasurable calamity. It's really detestable. Although the dark forbidden lord is strong, we can definitely kill him if we join forces. Han Huang added, primordial chaos, the dark forbidden lord must die. Otherwise, when the dark era arrives, be it the chaos or the primordial chaos, they will no longer exist. This is the final battle. There is no second chance. Failure means death. All of you have to do your best. If you want to escape, do you really think the dark Forbidden Lord will bypass you? Think about those Darkness sect disciples. Who are they? They have no ties or are products outside the Great Tao like the Calamity Life Controller. Our Providence is all connected to the chaos. We will all die if the chaos and the primordial chaos are destroyed before the endless era arrives. After they finished speaking, the 12 leaders led by Han Huang and Zhao Shuangquan advanced. The Great Tao Supremes and Great Tao Sages followed closely behind. All of them took out their Dharma treasures and tensed up. 4 half-step creators rushed over from different directions. They were the clones of the chaotic consciousness, the formless transcendent deity, the yin-yang purity nirvana deity, and Shurtion's immeasurable destruction venerable. They did not say anything else and directly joined Han Huang and the others. Everyone looked in the same direction. Their gazes passed through countless universes and saw primordial despair slowly advancing. It yawned and spat out a blood aura that made people do evil, forming a bloody mist that covered the universe. The solemn atmosphere enveloped the chaotic and primordial army. A circle of light appeared around the group as mighty figures stepped out. The ultimate god of punishment, the Holy Mother of Order, the Divine Robe Taoist, and other great Tao divine spirits appeared, including the Divine Punishers. There were hundreds of them. The primordial ancestor god also came. He stared coldly at the ultimate god of punishment, hiding his killing intent. Han Tua, Etion, Chi-Fa, and the other original 5 great divine punishers also came. However, they did not join the hidden sect, but followed the chaos. Dong! A bell sounded and the strong light tore. Creation Emperor Court, Emperor Han Ling arrived with 10 million Emperor soldiers. Han Yi, Han Yao, and Han Ba Hen brought all the great Tao sages of the Creation Emperor Court with them. No one exclaimed. All the mighty figures silently accepted all of this. Every time a faction arrived, their morale would increase imperceptibly. the Northern Chaos Holy Lord, the Tao. Heavenly Race, the West Extreme Abyss, Shurtion, Transcendent, and other factions arrived. More and more, the number of great Tao sages exceeded 10,000. They all gave up on the back and rushed over to participate in the final battle. The members of the Darkness sect no longer felt any pressure and continued to harvest the lives of living beings in the chaos. All of this was seen by the mighty figures, increasing their hatred. They had to eliminate the Dark Forbidden Lord first before dealing with those lackeys. The chaotic heavenly dog shivered and said to Murongchi, I suddenly feel that master Chicken is wise. Before Murongchi could speak, Guanbubi glared at him and said, We've cultivated for hundreds of millions of years. Why isn't it for today to fight for a chance for all living beings? Yes, in the story sect master told me, this is a huge nest. Jiang Yi smiled excitedly. Most of the hidden sect disciples had the same expression, especially the chaotic fiend celestials. Their blood boiled and they wished they could be the first to attack. On the other side, Han Yao sighed. I didn't expect the primordial chaos and the chaos to join forces. It's all thanks to the Dark Forbidden Lord. Humph, nonsense. Han Yi snorted and looked at Han Huang. They could finally fight side by side again. Han Yi gripped the world-piercing divine origin bow, his eyes filled with fighting spirit. Primordial origin and Huang Zuntian transformed as well. They were not inferior to Han Huang. From their figures, they were clearly fiend celestials of the same race. This shocked the mighty figures. Could they also be? The mighty figures couldn't care less. This was a good thing. They finally saw primordial despair after passing through layers of universes. Hanju deliberately appeared and let them see him. Su Qi! Li Daokong frowned. The hidden sect disciples were instantly furious. You're courting death. The heavenly constellation Fiend Celestial immediately attacked. The other dozens of chaotic Fiend Celestials of the hidden sect followed closely behind. The other disciples hurriedly caught up, afraid that they would suffer. Seeing this, Han Huang immediately ordered, Kill! He leaped and pinched out the ultimate origin soul oblivion in his hand. He waved the divine punishment light blade at the Dark Forbidden Lord above primordial despair. Roar! Primordial despair suddenly roared angrily. Terrifying sound waves swept in all directions, visible to the naked eye, shattering layers of space and time. Han Huang was caught off guard and was sent flying. He soared and collided with the 3,000 Great Tao in the blink of an eye. How is that possible? How can this fellow be so powerful? Han Huang thought in disbelief. Primordial despair was created by him. He wasn't the only one. The chaotic Fiend Celestials were all sent flying. More than 10,000 Great Tao sages also attacked. Later. Is this all you've got? And you still want to protect the chaos? Dream on! Hanju's disdainful voice sounded. It was the Dark Forbidden Lord's voice. It was cold, mocking, and disdainful.